Today I want to speak to men, and we need to talk about women crossing the street to avoid you. It happens, often. You'll be casually walking down the street and a woman will be walking toward you. She'll see you and immediately cross the street to avoid you. Often this is accompanied by eye contact or what you might interpret as a judging look. Now, if you're anything like I've been in the past, the following emotions will cross your mind. Confusion, then hurt, then anger. That anger will lead to thoughts which, again in many cases, leads to the following internalization. What the hell? I'm not a bad guy. What the crap was that all about? Here's what that was about. And I have good news and bad news. The good news is, this probably isn't about you. Nothing that just happened had anything to do with who you are as a person. At all. The bad news is, if you felt and thought those things, you're doing it all wrong. The interaction you're having with a stranger who is a woman isn't about you. It's about her. It's about what she feels. I recently had this experience, and my response was this Facebook post. A woman just very obviously crossed the street to avoid walking past me. In my younger days, I'd be offended by the woman. Now, I just get angry at other men for making her live in a world where she has to do that. It's our fault. It might not be your fault, and it might not be my fault, but as a group, it's our fault. But we do have to deal with the consequences and assign blame properly. Incidentally, a ton of my female friends chimed in on this Facebook status and blamed the situation on my jorts. I love my jorts. I'm not giving up my jorts. I love you all, but the jorts stay. They're comfortable, and the pockets work. Anyway, fellow men, as I said in this post, this is not a woman's problem. This is our problem. I've always considered myself an ally to women, but what I consider myself doesn't actually make me good at anything. Even championing progressive views, I still screw up a lot. And pre-2009, I screwed this one up bad. Back then, when a woman judged me before knowing anything about me, I compared her to racists. I considered her sexist. I was furious that I could be judged for something I had nothing to do with, and was so quick to feel persecuted. And much like white people who claim, "Oh my God, slavery ended so long ago and I had nothing to do with it, just get over it," there are huge problems with this way of thinking. In this case, like most of those cases, I made it about me. It's not about me. It's hopefully not about you. It's about other people. And other people saw me as threatening. And while that felt insulting and it hurt my feelings, those people were working from social data that I didn't understand and priorities I couldn't fathom. And they just wanted to be safe. In 2009, I read a very interesting article by Phaedra Starling called Schrodinger's Rapist. In 1925, physicist Edwin Schrodinger, or Schrodinger, depending on who you ask, once put forth a thought exercise to demonstrate a principle in physics called the superposition. Now, my personal demonstration of the superposition is the USB cable. You try to put it in, it doesn't work. First position. You flip it. You try to put it in again. It doesn't work. Second position. You turn it again, and you know it'll work, and it does. Superposition. The waveform collapses so I can get to my files. Anyway, for those who don't already know, this thought exercise was called Schrodinger's Cat, and posited that until an outcome is observed, a binary option state was in quantum flux. It's basically just uncertainty. His example was, to simplify, a cat in a box that may have been poisoned. Until it was observed, it was both alive and dead. Only when it was observed did it become either. And so, sadly, fellow men, to every woman who sees us, we are all Schrodinger's rapist. The women we interact with in public have no idea if we're the dead cat or the alive cat, and they absolutely do not need to be made to open the box to find out. That woman who crossed the street to avoid me? She just wanted a box-free existence. Her day was complicated enough. without needing to assess whether or not I'm a danger to her. Better to just avoid the whole damn thing. The worst part of this is that when women do cross the street, they're often criticized for being rude. And when they don't cross the street and something bad does happen, they're often met with criticism there too. Why didn't you just cross the street? The nincompoops jumping through hoops to blame the victim will say. But this isn't about women's choices. It's about men's behavior. And it's not our fault personally. Hopefully anyway. We personally did not do that. I'm making assumptions about my tiny audience, but for the duration of this video, let's assume we're all awesome and would never make a woman feel uncomfortable. We did not personally make that a thing. But blaming women, as my younger self did, and as many still do, for being scared of a world where men are dangerous, that's not something we get to blame on women. We need to blame and police our fellow men. A woman walking down the street who crosses to avoid me isn't worried about me specifically. She is worried because, as is too terribly common, men who are interested in her will not take no for an answer. They will blame her for rejecting them. She just wants to walk. She just wants to be left alone. The universal sign for please leave me the fuck alone is headphones and your phone. You know, if you're staring at your phone, you got your headphones on, don't fucking bug me. That works a hell of a lot better for me than it does for my wife or any of my female friends. I get to do that. They don't. Worse than that, when they don't get that privilege, they also are yelled at for being rude. It was a compliment. I was just trying to compliment you. So yeah, if it were me, I'd cross the street too. So the next time somebody crosses to avoid you and you start to feel hurt or angered or sad, don't. Be bigger than that. Be stronger. It isn't about you. But sadly, it might be about your jorts. For Sofa Justice Warriors, I'm Joe. Thank you everybody, good night.